Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Jones Austin, CEO of the Federation of Protestant Welfare Agencies, and I am thrilled to be here. I think we're all thrilled to be here, correct? Yes. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge my friends, our friends and colleagues who are here with us. Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, there she is. Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, Assemblyman Michael Benedetto, Assemblyman Michael Blake, Assemblyman Jose Rivera, Assemblyman David Weprin, Councilwoman Inez Dickens, Jill Ferrillo, Executive Director of the New York State Nurses Association, Diane Batts, Co-President of A Better Balance, and our friends Make the Road New York and New York Communities for Change. So this is a momentous day for the people of this great state because we're joined by Governor Cuomo. He's put forth the most robust paid family leave policy of any state in the nation. Paid family leave is crucial to building a city that actually supports working families. And it's absolutely vital if we want to break down the barriers that have held low-income families, minority families, and women-led households back for far too long. Governor Cuomo's 12-week proposal is exactly what we need to accomplish that goal. And I'm here today, like so many of you, to sign on to his campaign and fight to make sure that this proposal becomes a reality. No governor in recent history has been as committed to expanding opportunity and promoting fairness than Governor Cuomo. And I'm proud, I believe we're all proud to stand with him to fight for this crucial policy that will ensure millions of families no longer have to make the difficult choice between caring for their loved ones and the economic stability that they need and that they deserve. Now I'm very proud to introduce another champion of this cause, Assemblyman Keith Wright.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Harlem. It's truly a great day. I want to say thank you to our governor. Welcome back to Harlem. Welcome back to Minnesink Townhouse. He is no stranger here. I want to say thank you. You know, our governor, Governor Cuomo, is a tremendous supporter of the working people of the city of New York. And I'm excited to have him with us here today in Harlem to continue that fight. Now, we've accomplished a great deal in this community under our governor. We've invested in employment opportunities for underprivileged youth. We've raised the minimum wage. We are continuing to fight for $15 an hour this year, but there is so much more to do. And that is why we need to make 2016 the year that New York enacts family leave policy, paid family leave policy. You know, I have lived in Harlem all of my life. I have fought for this community of Harlem all of my life. I've seen how difficult it can be for single mothers and single fathers, for grandparents, for aunts and uncles in our community who not only work, but care for their loved ones. The truth is, not only does New York need paid family leave, our community needs paid family leave. Our community needs paid family leave. This Governor Cuomo's policies would make a big, big difference to millions and millions of New Yorkers, and that is most especially true in this community. Because while the federal government currently guarantees the right to unpaid family leave, the lack of continued salary benefits means that those who need support are those who are actually hurt the most. It's the working mothers who are forced to quit their jobs and stay home because they cannot afford child care. It's the working families who have to drain their life savings when a parent becomes ill or requires care. It's the people who live paycheck to paycheck who are forced to rely on government assistance to feed their babies and care for their parents. That's an unacceptable reality in today's society. And that's why we need to pass paid family leave policy in New York this year. And now it's an absolute honor to introduce to you one of the most courageous women that I have ever worked with. She is the Democratic leader of the New York State Senate, Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins.
Thank you, Assemblyman Wright. It is so good to be with you here in Harlem, USA. Yes. I've been here twice in 2 days. People's like, you live here? I said, doesn't everybody live here? This is a rally, right? So why don't we rally? What do we want? When do we want it? Okay, so you got your rally voice on. Let's try it again. What do we want? When do we want it? Okay. You all got a rally. All right, now we clap. Come on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. This is a fight. You know why we're here. This has been something we have been fighting for so many years. And now, with the leadership of the governor, with the leadership of my assembly colleagues, the Democrats here, and yes, my Democratic conference in the state Senate, we are at this place. We are at this place. Now, we just got to pull our Republican friends along because, you know, they talk about family values. What's more valuable than paid family leave? What's more family values? We know how this is. We're all living longer. Part of the sandwich generation, we know what that looks like. I had to take care of my mom, had to take care of my dad, had to take care of my children. Everybody realizes there's that time where you will need time off, where you could just pay attention to those people in your life who you love and matter to you. Should you have to choose between your paycheck and them? Should you have, no, good, we got that. Should you have to choose between keeping a job and them? No. That's why we've got to do it now. If we enact paid family leave, it will be the most robust program in the country. Is New York State a leader? Yes. Can we lead on this issue? Yes. Can we fight to make sure that our families have what they need? Yes. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. Perfect. This is a great introduction for me to bring to you someone who has fought all her life, who has spent the past 16 years as the head of New York State's NAACP. You know who that is? Hazel Dukes.
morning. Harlem, Westchester, Suffolk, Nassau County, Buffalo, the Bronx, Queens. Where is Queens? Where is Queens? Oh, yeah. I see you. Now, the senators told you why we were here. But Brooklyn. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. How can I forget Brooklyn? Yes, Brooklyn. Well, since I represent the state, just let me take it all. Every county, every city in this great state. Most of you have heard about Governor Andrew Cuomo, but you heard about him late in life. See, I heard him by an early age. He was the son of my brother, Governor Mario Cuomo. So I had a chance to see him run around like little boys in the mansion. And I thought at that time he was going to be something. And I kind of nurtured him along with those great parents. The weapons know, because at one time Nassau County and Queens was together under the late Lester Wolf. Now I come from Nassau County, and what they said about me is put up your dukes. See, Mario was a fighter. He was a boxer at one time, the late governor. So I learned how to box. Let me tell you about this great governor of the Empire State. He has led us in civil rights, human rights, gay rights, women rights, and here we are today for everybody's rights, especially in our many conversations with his staff and with him. He came up, he said there are some things that we have to do to make this state great. Now, you know, in New York State, when you deal with a county like Nassau and Suffolk, those people are not progressive. We have to drag them along. You understand? Because they have another mentality. But this governor has been great in doing that. He's brought people together. I'm amazed when you look at upstate, the Mid-Hudson. You look at those areas. The governor has worked to bring New Yorkers together. And so here we are today with family paid leave. This state, under the leadership of Governor Andrew Cuomo, will lead this country in understanding the value of family, just not talk, but action. And we here today, every one of us in here today is deputized to walk the halls of Albany on the Senate side and on those who might be in the assembly who are waving, to tell them that this governor is on the right track and we are going to get it done this year. Can I hear you? The governor has stepped forward. He's put it there. He's leading the way, but he needs us for the supporters. You know, if you're a leader with no followers, you're just taking a walk. This governor is not going to take a walk. We're going to get it done. Can I hear you? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, stand to your feet. The greatest governor beside his dad for the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo. Let me hear you.
I love you, honey. I love you. Good morning. Good morning. Let's hear for Hazel Dukes. Let's hear it for the NAACP. Let's hear it for the Mission Society. I'll tell you, Hazel speaks the truth. I am still afraid of Hazel Dukes. I will tell you the truth. She calls my office, a fear goes right through my body. I remember her from the early days, and my old man was tough. He was a fighter, he was tough. Hazel was tougher. She would stand up at meetings, boy, she'd get everyone fired up, she'd get everybody marching, she wouldn't take no for an answer. And she, to me, represents the New York spirit. We won't take no for an answer, we're gonna fight. Dukes up, Dukes up. To Jennifer Jones Austin, thank you for your leadership. Your story is inspiring to all of us. Let's give her a round of applause. Our great Assemblyman Keith Wright, pleasure to be with you, Keith. Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins, our Democratic leader who's doing a great job in the Senate. To my colleagues from the Assembly, Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, Congresswoman Maloney, let's give them a round of applause. Now, we're talking about paid family leave today. It's part of the legislative session. We're also talking about a $15 minimum wage. We're also talking about community schools. We're talking about doing a budget that meets the priorities of New Yorkers. And we can talk about all these programs that we're working on in Albany over the next few weeks as part of the budget, which is done April 1. But it's more than just about these programs. It's more than just about all these acronyms. And frankly, it's simpler than that. This is about a fight for basic fairness in this state. That's what this is about. And it is that simple. You know, you turn on the TV and you hear all these political pundits talking about the unease that is now in the electorate, and people are angry, and they have all these names for it: wage inequality, economic anxiety, wage stagnation. What it is working families in this state and country are being abused. That's what it is. And what they're saying is, we want basic fairness. That's what it comes down to. The American promise, the compact was, if you go to work and you do what you're supposed to do and you work full time, you make a decent living. That's what this country said to people. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the great New York governor, became president, passed the minimum wage. Minimum wage said if you work, you will be paid a wage that allows you a decent lifestyle. Decent. Why? Because there was dignity in work. And if you were working and you were pulling your weight, you deserved dignity and you deserved respect and a decent life. What is decent life? Decent life is you don't drive a Cadillac, but you don't walk either, right? A decent lifestyle, a middle-class working family's life. That is not what we get today for the minimum wage. You cannot pay the rent and pay for food on the minimum wage in the state of New York. So we say we want to raise the minimum wage to $15. Why? Because $15 is fair. Now, when you're walking the halls, as Hazel Dukes has commended us, you're going to hear two arguments. They're going to come to you and say, oh, $15. $15 is too high. It's too high. That's the first argument. Really? Too high? You know where $15 comes from? If you took the minimum wage in the 1970s and you indexed it for inflation, you know where it takes you to? Our proposal for $15. That's where it takes you to. The second thing they're going to say to you is, oh, this is interfering in the private marketplace. The private market should set wages, not government. Oh, really? This is interfering in the private marketplace. You want to know what interfering in the private marketplace? This is what interference is. You take big companies that pay the minimum wage. We just went through this with the fast food companies, Burger King and McDonald's. They pay their workers the minimum wage. But when you make the minimum wage in New York, you are still below the poverty level. So you go to government and you are entitled to government benefits. So you get welfare payments, you get food payments on top of what Burger King and McDonald's pay you. The way it works out is Burger King pays you about $18,000 as the minimum wage. State of New York taxpayers give you about an additional $7,000 for a minimum wage worker in a fast food company. So we wind up subsidizing Burger King and McDonald's. You know how much it costs the state of New York? $700 million per year to subsidize Burger King and McDonald's. I said it's time to get out of the hamburger business and let them pay a decent wage and let them pay instead of the state taxpayers paying. Now, the way workers are treated is part in what they're paid, but it's also their relationship to the employer. And more workers are treated like they are totally replaceable commodities. You are just a worker. And if you walk out the door, I'll replace you because there are 10 others who need your job. You're like a laptop. You break, I throw you out, and I get a new one. So if minimum wage worker without power, goes to his or her employer and says, look, I have a situation at home, and I need a few weeks off because I have a situation at home. Parent who is sick, my wife's having a baby, situation at home, I need a few weeks off. You know what that employer would probably say? You can take the few weeks off. As a matter of fact, don't even bother coming back, Take more time. Because the power relationship has shifted. The employee doesn't have the same amount of power, doesn't have the same amount of respect in the workplace. So we say paid family leave because there should be a balance between work and family and your life. And in the relationship of the employer and the employee, it's not there anymore. And we want to make sure that people can actually live their life. If a loved one is sick, they can be there for a loved one. A loved one is dying, and they say, you know what? I want to spend some time with a loved one before they leave this earth because that's important. I want to spend some time with a newborn baby. They should have that right, and it doesn't require that they be rich enough to take that time off, but there's paid family leave because everyone deserves that decency. Now, let's be real this morning, because we're listening to real people. When we listen to Hazel Dukes and the assemblyman and the senator, the economic inequality is actually compounded by something else. And that is the racial inequality. It's bad to be poor and white, but on the numbers, it's worse to be poor and minority. That is the truth. And economic inequality and racial inequality starts very early in our society. You know where it starts? In the first grade. It starts in the first grade because your economic potential in this society is determined by your educational accomplishment. And it starts in the first grade. You know why we're working so hard to change failing schools? New York City, there are 91 failing schools. Some failing schools have been failing for years and years and years. Some failing schools in this state have been failing for over a decade. Think about it. A failing school for a decade, and what have we been doing? We keep sending children to that school every year. You know it's a failing school. What were you thinking when you sent that child back to a failing school? Did you think miraculously the school was going to change and come up with a different outcome? What did you think before you condemned that child to a school that's failing? How did you do that year after year after year? 91 failing schools in New York City. What is the racial composition of those 91 schools? 90% black and brown. 90% black and brown. Do you think the same thing would be happening if that school was 90% white? Let's tell the truth this morning. It would not be. And when you're not providing the education, what happens? And that young person can't get a job. And that's why you have double the unemployment rate for young minority teens, 20-year-old minorities, double that of whites. 40% unemployment for black and brown 20-year-olds. They can't get a job. And when you can't get a job, you're exactly right. What happens? Get into trouble, hang out on the corner, you go to jail. State prisons, 75% black and brown. It is a continuum, and it starts very early. And we have to change it. We have to change that pattern. We have to change that conduit, that continuum. One of the proudest things that I've done with my colleagues in Albany, when they write the history books, we will have closed more prisons than any administration in the history of the state of New York. That's what we will have done. Closed more prisons and more alternatives to incarceration, because it is just wrong. And you just do more damage to young people who are going into those prisons. Nobody comes out of a prison stronger or better or more educated than they went into that prison. That's why doing something about Rikers Island here in New York City is so important. Rikers Island, 90% black and brown. 90%. And you want to hear real injustice. 85% of the people in Rikers Island haven't even been committed of a crime. Haven't even been committed of a crime. And they're in Rikers Island suffering dangerous conditions, civil rights abuses. And they haven't even been convicted. And we call that the justice system, when it's really one of the grave injustices in society today. So, fight for fairness. The fight for fairness says, let's do something about failing schools. Let's turn them into community schools. Let's give them the resources they need to fight poverty, provide the full services they need to young people. Let's make work pay, raise that minimum wage to $15. Let people live a decent life and balance it with their family and pass paid family leave so people can attend to their family. Let's do it here in New York. Let's do it this year. Let's show them what leadership is all about. Let's tell them you don't have to take no for an answer. We can have a better society, a fairer society, a more just society. We can believe in opportunity for all, and that's what New York State is all about. And we're going to do it with your help, and we're going to lead the way, and we're going to say to the rest of this nation, you follow New York to a fairer future for all of us. Thank you, and God bless you.